There's been a lot of talk lately about the FBI versus Apple in regards to a phone that belonged to one of the San Bernardino shooters. Now, it is a complicated matter pitching personal privacy versus national security. And thanks to a reader who left a comment on a previous video of mine, I figured I might be able to help shed some light on this whole topic so that you guys can actually get all the information and decide how you feel about it for yourselves. So first, a little background on the situation. Basically, a radical couple ended up shooting and killing 14 people and injuring 22 others during a San Bernardino County Department of Public Health training event and holiday party on December 2nd of last year. The couple then fled the scene and were later killed in a shootout with police. In order to find out more about the shooters and their potential contacts, the FBI attempted to break into the iPhone 5C that was owned by one of the shooters. Now, because the phone was actually given to them by their employer, which was the Department of Health for San Bernardino County, San Bernardino technically was the owner of the phone and was able to get the iCloud password, which allowed the FBI access to any old backups that they had done through iCloud. Now, using those backups, you can easily extract them and find call logs, messages, and anything else that might be of interest to the FBI. Now, the big issue was that a lot of this data, because they hadn't backed up in a long time, was old. And the only way to get newer data that might be more relevant is to get the actual PIN code for the phone and then back it up from there. Or obviously, of course, if you have the PIN code, you could literally just go into the phone and get the data from that. So on February 9th of this year, the FBI announced that they could not unlock the phone, and they asked Apple for help. Now, by ask, I mean demand, of course. And the big issue actually came around with what it is they asked Apple for. The FBI asked for, and actually got mandated by a federal judge, that Apple create a new version of iOS that removed the limit on the number of PIN code attempts. At the moment, if you enter your PIN code into the phone enough times incorrectly, it actually erases the data on the phone. Now, of course, for the FBI that wants that data, that would be bad. The mandate would remove this limit and essentially allow the FBI to brute force attack the phone. So just send a bunch of random PIN codes until eventually one got through. Apple then responded to the mandate saying that it would jeopardize millions of people's security across the world for the reasons that I just mentioned, and that basically they were willing to take this all the way to the Supreme Court to try and stop it. The interesting thing is that Apple and Google used to get requests for login information all the time and would just comply without issue. It wasn't until Android L and iOS 8 that both of them, around the same time, oddly enough, decided to encrypt their OS by default, and also leave the decryption keys on the device and not on their own servers, which made it impossible for even them to get into their own phones. Now, one can imagine that they were both getting a lot of requests from the government before this, asking for login information. So whether they made this change to protect their users or to stop being inundated with these requests, who knows? People who are proponents of Apple's side say the government has no right to tell anyone to change their product just to suit the government's needs. And ever since 1996, when a judge actually ruled it so, programming code is technically considered a form of speech, and this is the equivalent of telling someone what they can and cannot say, and therefore violating their First Amendment. Proponents of the FBI say that how is this any different than asking a landlord for the keys to a suspect's apartment? Search and seizure is a normal part of the judiciary process, and so long as a warrant is present, a company should do whatever it can to try to help an investigation. Lastly, I think it's probably important to note that there are companies out there that exist called digital forensics companies that have always helped the government break into phones or computers, and they also kind of charge a hefty price tag to help them do that. One such method that they use is called JTAG, and it actually allows them to attempt to extract data directly from the device's memory and actually bypasses the OS entirely. Now, whether or not the existence of the fact that there are other methods to do this affects this case or not, I'm not really sure, but I figured that it was probably just important to mention. So here you go, guys, a quick rundown of what this whole debacle is all about. It's obviously a pretty complicated matter, but I would love to hear what you guys think. Do you side with Apple, FBI? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Love to hear from you guys. Also, this is a different type of video for me, so if you like this type of video and want me to do more of those, please let me know in the comments about that as well. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please thumbs up it. or share it. It is greatly appreciated. And if you want more videos like this, please subscribe to the YouTube channel or follow me at dkogan on any number of social networks. And as always, thanks for watching.